Well, this is one of the bolder movies to come out in 2021. Please do not take this movie for granted. This flick could be more fun to watch when you're stoned. Red Notice is sure to rock your world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I gotta get all the puns related to our star of this film right from the get-go. We'll never be apologetic for them. No sir, no chance. How's it going, guys? My name is Zack, and joking aside, I really do appreciate you guys clicking on this thumbnail today. I really hope you enjoy your stay, because this time around on the docket, talking all things cinema and entertainment, we are checking out Red Notice. This is the brand new spy action comedy film written and directed by Rawson Thurber, who also brought you Dodgeball and We're the Millers. Both of those movies hilarious, might I add. And it stars an A-list trio of Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. It's hitting Netflix this Friday, November 12th. I was lucky enough to catch it early on the big screen, and I had a pretty damn good time with it, I gotta admit. But not to get ahead of myself, let's start with the story. We're in the world of international crime, where an Interpol agent attempts to hunt down and capture the world's most wanted art thief. Might I add, this is also at a $200 million budget, the most expensive film in Netflix history, which should be obvious because of these three actors they actually got in their starring vehicles. And you know what? I had a really good time watching this on the big screen with my grandparents. Red Notice is fun. That's the most simple way I could describe this thing. Fun. The cinematography and the direction in this film I thought were quite good to go along with some suave and lavish production design. These costumes in particular are ultra sleek. Red Notice is a really nice movie to look at overall. The action scenes are way ridiculous and over the top to a fault, one of which involving a rocket launcher. But for the most part, I would say that the action in this movie is at least a little bit more fun than Central Intelligence, also directed by Rawson Thurber, also starring Dwayne Johnson. This is obviously a movie I'd rather enjoy. I obviously own the Blu-ray, and Red Notice actually marks the third collaboration between Dwayne Johnson and Rawson Thurber after Central Intelligence and Skyscraper. Anybody remember this piece of shit? Yes, I'm embarrassed to say I own Skyscraper as well, but you know what? This is a bad movie, but it's the right kind of bad movie. Now, The Rock in this movie plays the tough guy FBI agent named John Hartley, who nobody really takes seriously without a badge. And there are some interesting revelations about his character as you go deeper into the runtime. And it's The Rock, so you know he's gonna give a very good, very charming performance. What else can be said about this guy that hasn't already been said? The dude's a goddamn boss. I am still convinced that this guy can do no wrong. Now, I will say that Red Notice does feel like a role that fits more into his character type. He's definitely the straight man of this main comedic duo after his great turn in Central Intelligence, where he got to be the goofy one for a change. The roles are basically flip-flopped, but if I could use one of his wrestling terms for a minute, The Rock certainly knows his role, and he is great in this. But as big of a fan of The Rock as I am, those of you who know me personally will already be aware of that, because that dude freaking inspires me. But he is not the show stealer here. That distinction belongs to Ryan Reynolds. I found him hilarious in this thing as this Houdini-like escape artist. And the way him and The Rock play off of each other is the stuff of comedy gold. Their banter is energetically fun the whole entire runtime. I thought it was absolutely delightful. Reynolds is at his smart-assery best in this. The Rock gets to be very sarcastic to play off of that. It's so great, and that is thankfully the big crux of Red Notice, is that character relationship. And I thought their whole arc together was the movie's strongest element. For starters, they go from a massive chase sequence in a Roman museum, which was heart-throbbing to say the least, but then they become reluctant partners in this quest to keep this main artifact away from Gal Gadot's character, who is simply referred to as the Bishop. And Gadot, I thought, was a super badass in this film as well. Even though she definitely feels like an afterthought compared to The Rock and Reynolds in the grand scheme of things, she's certainly very poised and powerful, as we should all come to expect. Now, obviously, I got no qualms with the performances, no qualms really with this filmmaking. I thought that was all very fun. The action sequences, man, I got a big laugh over a lot of the implausibility here. But my biggest issues with Red Notice actually boil down to a couple of things. First of all, my grandpa was actually the first person to actually point this out, and I couldn't help but agree with him. Red Notice is pretty much a more lavish version of True Lies starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, but then you blow up True Lies on steroids and you get Red Notice. The more I think about it, He's absolutely right. I feel like there were lots of elements within this movie I've definitely seen done better in other films like True Lies, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Also, Thurber does pay obvious homage to that. You know, it's exactly like Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's this valuable artifacts that our heroes have to collect. There's underground chase sequences all over the place. They hop all over different corners of the globe. It's a spitting image to an Indiana Jones film. Skyscraper also suffers from the same issue, where it just feels like a derivative of Die Hard or The Fugitive. And here's the biggest thing that I think will hold Red Notice back ultimately from being an instant classic: the ending. Way too overcomplicated. Don't get me wrong, the third act of this movie is exciting and fun enough, but this script by that point honestly becomes way too tangled up for its own good. Now the twist of this movie, not to spoil anything of course, but there is a very cool editing technique where they go back in time and show us events that happened in the earlier aspects of the film, but I feel like they try and take advantage of this editing technique way too much, and they really hammer in the twist to the audience. Like, even with all that over-explaining, I was still trying to compute everything that was going on. There were just certain things thinking about it sitting here right now after getting home from the auditorium. Things just don't add up ultimately. But if you put aside the ending that gets way too convoluted, you put aside the fact that it feels so derivative to other classic action films, and Rawson Marshall Thurber gives us a very serviceable turn off your brain type movie with Red Notice. I'm gonna give it a B-. It's certainly enjoyable. I'm not upset that I saw this film at all. Obviously, I have to support anything my boy The Rock does, but this is about on the same level as Central Intelligence in terms of entertainment value, but I do think that in the grand scheme of things, Central Intelligence is the story that will make more sense in the long haul. Of course, this is all just my opinion. What did you guys think of Red Notice? If you saw it early in the theaters like I did, have you seen it yet? And are you gonna stream it on Netflix this Friday? I definitely think you should, because I do think this is a movie that's at least worth one watch. And I'll leave it up to you whether or not you want to actually go back and rewatch it over and over again. Feel free to make as much noise as you want regarding your thoughts on Red Notice down in the comments. Also, let me know what your favorite Dwayne Johnson performance is, because as you know, I love discussing all things cinema entertainment with you guys. If these topics sound appealing to you, I would recommend hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. We keep inching closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers here on the channel, which I am still absolutely floored by. If you haven't already, what the heck are you waiting for? It's absolutely 100% free to you guys. It's also very beneficial in helping get this content out there to more viewers, as is hitting that thumbs up button on your way out. That would be tremendous help as well. And as always, guys, stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. I've also just uploaded my review for The Harder They Fall, which also is on Netflix. I will be looking at Tick Tick Boom this weekend once that hits Netflix. Andrew Garfield singing as Jonathan Larson? Sign me up. But guys, I cannot wait to discuss all these fun topics with you guys and much, much more to come. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.